What's up guys, and welcome back. Today in this video we're going to be looking at another Stephen King novel, and the one we're looking at today is The Running Man. Now The Running Man was published in 1982 and it was under the pseudonym of Richard Bachman. I read this in the Bachman Books. I don't actually have it with me at the moment, but it was part of a compilation of 3 stories and this was the final one in this book. It has around 317 pages depending on which version you have. I'm not sure what mine had because I don't have the book with me, but it was a relatively short book. Usually I have notes written as I'm reading the book or afterwards to kind of just summarize some of the things I want to talk about, but it's been so long since I finished the book, and as I said, I don't have it with me. I don't have my notepad, so I am going to be looking at the Wikipedia here just to get the basics of the plot before I get into the things I enjoyed or didn't enjoy about the story. So it's set in a sort of dystopian America in the year 2025, which obviously this is written in 82, so it's very different from what might be actually happening by then, or maybe not so different. We follow the character of Ben Richards, someone who has been blacklisted from his trade and doesn't have a job. He has a girlfriend with a young child who is not doing so good, so the only way you can get money is to join the co-op city where it's set is called the Game Network, and this whole sort of city is based around this game network, where it's the only way. If you want to get money, you're desperate for money, then you sign up to this, and it's basically like a very dangerous Takeshi's Castle sort of environment where you're guaranteed money if you win, but if you don't win, you're probably gonna die. So essentially what The Running Man is that you are given a big sum of money, and maybe I think it's 12 to 24 hours advance ahead of the people chasing you, and what you have to do is you just have to survive for as long as possible. Now every day you earn cash which you can be given to your family or whatever, and you have people hunting you, which I'm not sure if they call the hunters or the stalkers. It might be the stalkers, and they are essentially sort of hitmen or paid bounty hunters who are trying to track you down. So the aim of the game is to survive as long as possible, and I'm not sure how you actually win the game. I'm not sure if you can just kind of survive or if it's just run for the rest of your life. But initially I didn't know much about the book. I've watched the film of Arnold Schwarzenegger and I was very surprised that this is completely different to that. Now the film is more focused on sort of like a few blocks in the city that is being sort of cordoned off and used as the game zone, whereas in this one you could literally run around the whole city. You can escape the city. It's basically the whole world. It's you just on the run until you either get captured or killed, I guess. So with the story set up, Ben Richards has to go on the run and just try and survive from these stalkers and whatever. So with that in mind, expectations of this is that it's going to be, I was expecting it to be a bit more like the movie, but it was very different, and I did enjoy the book, but I will say it's probably my least favourite of the Bachman trilogy of the ones I read. Now I don't know if this is just my expectations from watching the movie, and the movie isn't that great, but I feel like the concept of it was a bit more entertaining. It's more like Tron-like, arena-like, whereas in this one there's a lot of downtime where the characters can just be sat around in hotels for days on end, and it's not like it's a bad thing. It's definitely good for the engagement of the character and building his character and what he does in the situation, and that's what the story is mostly about. I just feel like with the mention of the stalkers and the people that are going to be chasing him, I thought there'd be either more action or more engaging antagonists in the story, whereas we didn't really see much of that at all. It seemed like a lot of the story was more about Ben running from the law. It seemed to just be that he was on the run from the police, so it didn't really make it seem like such an original story when it was just a man on the run. Now these are the things that we do actually see of him on the run aren't actually negatives. It's some pretty cool stuff. I think I just expected there to be more of a sort of a villain or some more skilled assassins that were coming after him, especially coming off the back of the book Firestarter, when we had John Rainbird, which was like a hitman who was such a compelling character. We got to see his sort of motivations and backstory and just how merciless he was, and I felt like this could have really done with a set of characters like that all trying to capture Ben Richards. That would have really enhanced this story in my opinion. One thing about the character Ben Richards is that he's not very likable, to be honest. He comes across as just cruel and racist in parts, but I feel like that might be part of the story, that he is thrust into these situations with maybe different people from different races and backgrounds, and you kind of get to see how he adapts to their lifestyles and how he maybe learns to not be so racist, I guess, and just trust people that he wouldn't normally trust, and that part of the story is really engaging. There's a lot going on behind the scenes as well. We have certain characters that are like fugitives or rebellion people who want to go against the system, and that stuff is really cool, but I feel like they didn't really get much payoff for that, which totally fits with the sort of bleakness of the story and this whole game and the world. But I just feel like the whole thing was setting up for something a bit more compelling in that sense, other than it just being Ben Richards on the run and trying to earn money, whereas we could have seen like the system be flipped and the whole sort of world getting to understand why this system needs to be stopped, when we didn't really get much of that in the story. Another thing about Ben Richards is how he's sort of portrayed as like really clever and really smart, but you never get an indication of how he sort of knows the things he does or how he can deal with certain things in certain situations. He just seems to know all the things, and you don't really get a sense that he has experience in any of these things or where he's learned them. You don't really get much of his background before the whole situation with him losing his job, so you don't know what his backstory really is and how it involves any of the things that he knows and how he's so good at evading the police and these assassins. So I feel like that could have been touched on a bit more to just develop his character into being sort of someone compelling enough to be worthy of being on the running man, not just because he needs the money. Another thing about the book is how it's structured. Now, Stephen King loves to play with his different types of structures of books, just the way the chapters are done in different characters, and like in Carrie, when sort of documents are done in news reports and things like that. So this one has a countdown timer. Now I'm trying to remember, I think it starts with like 101 remaining or something like that, and you don't really know sort of what it's counting down to. It's the end of the game, or how like long this story is going to end up being. But what it ends up being is it's basically a timer down to, I guess, the end of the story. So as you're getting closer, as it starts with the higher numbers, you're getting down to like 10 and counting, 9 and counting, you sort of expect to be the climax, so you feel like the pressure's on. So that's a sort of a good thing of an indicator to get you pumped for what should be happening, if you get what I mean. Like, if you know that we're getting down to the final, say, 10 countdowns, you know that shit's going to start going down, so it gets you excited. Whether that matches the payoff or not, that is up to you. Like I said, I don't have any notes with me, so it's been kind of tough for me to remember what happened as well as articulate it, but I hope you've enjoyed my review of it. I think the book is better than the execution of the movie, but I feel like if the book would have been done more in the sort of the concept of the movie, with the whole sort of arena and the villains and stuff, I feel like it could have been a lot more interesting, especially with how King writes his villains. Like I said with John Rainbird, if he would have made a cast of characters all with that kind of motivation, I think it could have been really awesome. So thanks everyone for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know your comments down below in the comment section. A lot of people do seem to love this book, and I don't know if that is more of a sort of regional thing, if people from, like, say, the United States, where it's supposed to be set, is it's more relatable, or I don't know. I didn't really vibe with it as much as I thought I would. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. I'm actually a couple videos behind now. At this point, I've already read Shawshank Redemption and Apt Pupil, so I'm going to be trying to get those videos done as well as soon as possible. And I'm currently reading The Body, which obviously was adapted into Stand By Me, so I can't wait to read that one and get a video out for you guys as well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next one, and if you haven't subscribed already, then go ahead, because then you'll be notified whenever my next video goes live. So yeah, see you later guys.